Hey, sweeties. So I got a mail from Evil One saying, "What's wrong with those women in San Francisco?" I talked with Anka, the ex-lesbian. So she's disidentified with her lesbian identity, um, which is her main identity for 20 years. You know, and one thing we're in agreement in is that San Francisco is kind of an epicenter of identity politics. So this kind of ethnography I've done of the category queer and try to category lesbian, category dyke, whatever, of San Francisco, I think you can argue that we see here the natural conclusion of identity politics. Wendy Brown is right. It's these identity politics, these politicized identities, which we on the left have thought that we need to fight for. The trans woman, the transgender, the lesbian, the dyke, the queer, the genderqueer. That these are actually what is keeping us down. These are actually what's policing gender. That's my what I'm saying is that gender is more heavily policed down here in San Francisco, where I am today, than up in this kind of default progressive straight world that I live in up in Sonoma. And that's totally Gilles Deleuze and Felix Guattari if you ever wasted your youth on reading Deleuze and Guattari like I did. That's part of why I'm so weird. I spent 2 years reading Deleuze and Guattari, backwards, forwards, skipping around. I think it warped me for life. But anyway, Evil One. Um, yeah, it's you know it. I get that shit in lesbian circles just because lesbian politicized lesbian identity. So following Wendy Brown's definitions, politicized lesbian identity is kind of a version of politicized woman identity, right? And the category woman, which has to be opposed to category man, right? So it's by politicizing, by fighting for it, by saying, well, first we have to achieve equality before we can think about other kinds of liberation or changing society. You're hooked into the system. It's like Zen Buddhism. If once you use the mind to understand the mind, you're lost. You're completely lost. You have to drop out of that. It's like using the identity categories to understand your place in the world. You can't first get the rights for your identity category and then go back and deal with changing the world. It's either or. If you're fighting for your identity category, whether it's a woman or transgender or, women born transsexual, then you are part of the system. And so this cultivated. I used to call it misandry, man hate, but I think it's actually much more communicative to call it androphobia. I think that what you get is a lot of lesbian identified women come to San Francisco to be separatists and to cultivated androphobia, which is, sharing stories about how awful this category is and how oppressive this category is. And then they can no longer cannot interact with Jasper, right? They have Jasper phobia because if they were not if they were to allow me to be anything other than the category man, their entire identity would fall apart. One proviso I really want to talk about this more at length. I find it very interesting. The lesbians who are actually always the most supportive of me in those environments are African American. Always, so it's kind of interesting. because I'm like half human in lesbian environments, right? I can exist there as an appendage to a human, a human defined as a lesbian. So I can be there as a lesbian's friend, but I don't have an individual social identity. I can't be a real person there, and I think African Americans in America grow up that way, of not, not being human in a sense. I mean, that's a pretty fucked up way to be, and so they understand it. So when all these white middle class lesbian girls are like letting me fall, like they're supposed to be my friends, but they're looking around to see if the other lesbians accept me. They're all looking at each other. They're all like hands off, like, yeah, I know Jasper. I've talked to him 20 fucking times. I've invited him to go places, but if there's other lesbians watching, I don't want to be associated with him. The black girls, they'll stand up. They'll come up to bat for me. They'll introduce me to their friends. They'll say, "Do you know Jasper?" So right now. So that's a shout out to DJ Black. Thank you. Black is one of those people who transcends these stupid fucking identity categories. So, bye bye. Have fun watching this. Remember, my new thing is I'm recording directly to the web. These are kind of improv. Take it or leave it. Enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. Um, Whatever. It's ephemeral. It'll go away. Maybe you get something from it. Maybe you don't. And so the volume is gonna go up. The immediacy is going up. So when you read that, if you read this right away, you're you're watching what I said, an hour ago, or 30 minutes ago, or 15 minutes ago. So, bye bye.